You and I talked about this the other day. The governor has talked around this issue. Are you on the same page?
Yeah, we are.
With the governors.
There's about $2.6 billion. When you get a second, there's about $2.6 billion in the state budget. There's automatically spent that needs to be reviewed and evaluated, in which provide us some dollars to fill some of these gaps and stop the bleeding that exists in the state budget.
Local government distributive funds, one of the biggest of there.
Well, but the other half of that, about $1 billion of it, goes into these line items that have been created over decades.
So you don't want to touch the money that goes to local government?
I think we need to look at everything in its totality, make sure we look at it for its performance and effectiveness. If we can look at the effectiveness and impact of programs in human services, we can look at it for education and higher education. We need to look at every aspect of the state budget. Nothing should be exempt from scrutiny.
Isn't that just passing along the cost that local taxpayers are eventually going to have to make up one way? They either pay it for the state in a tax increase or they pay it at home for a
Keep in mind, what I'm emphasizing is $1 billion that is automatically funded, automatically spent. Forget what you talked about, the other thing. $1 billion for line items that have been there forever, right? And that aren't scrutinized or evaluated for their effectiveness. They're these specific line items that legislators created over decades. It's an example of mismanagement and misspending that's occurred. There's no reason it should be protected.
The governor's saying enough on paying down old bills? Did he say anything that makes you think that there's more of a plan than?
Well, obviously there's a commitment to paying down more bills. There's close to $2 billion more this year to reduce more of the expenditures we have for old bills. So I think that's important. But also, we need the proper balance in paying down old bills and fulfilling our obligation we have on the spending side.
Can the governor call this budget balanced, even though he's assuming that at the end of it there's going to be nearly $7 billion in unpaid bills sitting on the comptroller's desk?
Well, I think what we can call it is we're only spending the money that we have in the state budget. Remember, this is a first introduction, and we're spending the revenue that we have, and to make sure that we take the money off the top based on our obligations, pension costs, debt service, whatever, and then we allocate the programs based on their effectiveness and their priorities. So what we can say is we're operating with the spirit of the spending reform law. It's moving forward. It's the best way in which we can do it. It's done differently than it ever has been done. Now keep in mind, in previous budgets we showed how much we'd like to spend, not how much money we had available to spend. So this is just like a family, just like a business.
The 35.6, is that a number you're comfortable with from the governor's office? Do you think that's low?
Well, there's a slight differential in what we have. I mean, we're gonna do what we have at COGVA. It's a small difference. At the end of the day,
COGVA's lower, but if you're talking about $1 billion or so from transfers, that could push it up to 36.
Keep in mind here, if you dedicate that money and it goes towards the bills that we have to pay, that has nothing to do with spending. That's existing bills.